Batanai, thanks so much for your time. Your country recently releasing its midterm budget. CNBC Africa spoke with the Finance Minister, Ncube. He was very confident that Zimbabwe had reached a point of turning the corner given the surplus that was recorded on the current account. Do you share the same optimism that Zimbabwe is on a firm footing to growth right now?
Okay, so the main indicator that you'd actually look at is the GDP growth forecast there. So Zimbabwe is expected to contract 2.1%. Actually, on in-house estimates show that it will contract by roughly around 3.5%. So what has happened, especially around consumer demand, is that we're seeing that disposable incomes are coming down, and there's a lot of structural issues within Zimbabwe. For example, one of them is power outages. So really from an output perspective, in terms of total output for the whole economy, we expect that to contract, especially in the current year. So really, yes, we have some books that show that there are surpluses on the current account, and also surplus in terms of budget. But then in terms of developments on the ground and actual output, we've seen a contraction.
A contraction because of the power outages. I mean, doing business in the dark is not easy for anyone. But of course, the drought is also quite a major impact and factor that is bringing down growth. I'm just interested. The midterm budget, as it was released right now, painting the picture of the state of Zimbabwe. Is Zimbabwe ripe for new investments now, particularly new investments in agriculture or even power to help with growth?
Okay, this is one of the major conversations that I have with my colleagues here to say that, ever since October 2018, we've seen a period of instability. So really from a foreign investor perspective, there's no stability, especially with the policies that have been put up. For example, I can give you Statutory Instrument 142 that was set up to actually control the current side of things. So there's been a lot of tweaking on that policy. So really it doesn't show a degree of stability. And even in terms of indigenization policies, the government tweaking policies here and there. So there's no conducive environment for investors to come in and park money, especially for the long term, simply because of instability. Also structural issues, like I indicated, power outages, in the product, and also some infrastructure failures.
But Batanai, are there any form of maybe low-hanging fruit that government can use to its advantage to help stage some turnaround? We speak with the cement maker here in South Africa, PPC, that has operations in Zimbabwe. I mean, management of that cement company very confident about Zimbabwe's prospects, talking about, the ramping up of all sorts of buildings and infrastructure spend there. But in your opinion, are there low-hanging fruits in other sectors, perhaps tourism, that government needs to be looking at more closely to bring in some much-needed money?
Yes, I think it's worth understanding the dynamics within the Zimbabwean economy. You find that, in terms of the structure, it's a largely informal economy where most of activities happening on the informal side. And if you're looking into the informal sector, you find that there are a lot of SMEs, small to medium enterprises. I think this is the low-hanging fruit for government to then come in and try and capacitate SMEs, because at the end of the day, what you want to do is really to boost employment and boost also aggregate demand. So that's a low-hanging fruit. But however, given the current dynamics on the monetary front, where with interest rates actually being increased, overnight rates increased from 15 to 50%, you find that there's no source of capital, especially for small SMEs. So really, for me, I think it's really about finding ways and structures to actually support the SME.